Do you want to machine applique? You can do it with these 7 simple tips for beautiful results. Choose the right fusible for your project. So for machine applique, for a quilt, you need a very lightweight. And so these are the 3 that I commonly use, and they all have advantages and disadvantages. This is the Heat and Bond Featherlight. It's the end of the roll, so it looks a bit scrunched up. It won't make any difference to it when I use it. And this ruler is just here holding it in place. And this is the label that gives you the instructions that come with it. Now, an advantage to this is it's backed with paper, so you can draw your design directly onto the paper, take the whole thing to the iron and fuse it together. You do have to remember when you're using fusible like this that whatever you draw on the bag is going to be reversed, so bear that in mind if you decide to use this. This works well. I've used it lots of times. It's nice and lightweight on your quilt. It's quicker to use than some of the others, and it's really a good option. The second one is similar. It's the same brand, but these are actually printable sheets. Do you see they're A4 size, and it actually shows your printer on the label. So the great advantage with this is that you can just put it in the printer and copy your design on there, and of course that makes life a lot simpler and quicker. It's used just the same way as the roll, but it's a little bit more expensive. But it's another good option. The one I'm actually using the most at the moment is this Misty Fuse. And I'm almost at the end of it. I seem to be just about running out of all of these, except for the printed ones, so I guess you can tell I don't print my patterns on there very often. This Misty Fuse is very sheer, and I've got it in a kind of a scrunched up little ball so you can see it, and it's extremely lightweight. My problem is that when I lay it down I lose it. I don't know if you can see. When I lay it on the fabric label it just about disappears, so I have a big problem of losing this when I'm trying to cut it. It has no paper backing, so the way to use this is to fuse a lot of it onto your fabric, then go onto your fabric and draw your design on there and cut it out like that. So you always want to fuse this one first. So those are the 3 I think best options for doing machine applique. Choose your favourite and always follow the instructions that come on the packet for doing the actual fusing. They all vary a little. I'm going to take this to my iron now and actually fuse some webbing on there. What I need for that is my non-stick pressing sheet, which as you can see is pretty worn out, but I use this all the time. And also, because I'm using the fusible webbing, I'm going to use this parchment paper. It's what you use in baking, pretty cheap from the grocery store. Those 2 things will protect my iron and my ironing board and everything else when I fuse these together. I've got my non-stick pressing sheet here protecting my ironing board. I'm just going to show you one small example. Usually I lay my fabric out and press a large piece of Misty Fuse over the whole thing. I'm just going to do one here. So it's got some creases in it, so I'm just giving that a little bit of a press. I'm not going to take them all out, but it'll make it a little bit better. So I'm putting this upside down, so this is the wrong side of the fabric. Here is the fusible webbing. And I'm going to cut a little piece big enough for that. I'm leaving it on there because if I move it, I'll never find it again. Do you see that? It's just big enough to cover that area. And now I'm going to take this parchment paper. I've just cut a piece off the roll. I'm going to lay it over there, and I'm just going to put my iron on there. This only takes a few seconds. You have to read the instructions on whatever fusible you're using. And you don't really need this parchment paper with the paper-backed adhesives. And then I'm going to leave it till it's cool, because if I don't, it might pull some of the fusible off there. And this will be ready to use. So I'm just going to peel that off there now. And a little bit of this, as you can see, will be stuck to that underneath, but it comes off really easily. That's the whole reason that you're using that. If you didn't use this, this would all be stuck to your ironing board. And I am just terrible for making a big mess when I do this. If you see my pad underneath here that I iron on, it's very scorched, and a lot of it is from doing machine applique, because no matter how careful I am, it's so easy to get stuck onto your iron and consequently onto your ironing board. So now all I have to do now is put my pattern that I'm using on there, and we'll do that in just a minute. Now I'm going to put this on the right side because that's where I'm going to draw, and I'm going to use a heat erasable pen for this. I'm just going to put my little robin on the top there and draw around it. Because I'm tracing this onto the right side, you see the way the robin is going to face. When you're using the paper-backed fusing, you have to remember that you'll always make the reverse. This is really a very simple applique to do, and if you're first beginning machine applique, it's much easier to do a simple one first. Now, this is actually the bottom of the little bird, the little robin that I'm making, and I am going to draw around here, but when I cut, I'm not going to cut on this line. I'm going to leave a little extra because overlapping is good. This white takes a little bit to show, but it's coming up there good enough where I can see it. Not sure how well you can see that, but the next thing I'm going to do is the bottom part of the robin. I'm going to draw around it and cut exactly to the shape this time. This bottom line here, this is where I'm not going to cut on the line. I'm going to leave probably slightly less than 1/4 of an inch under there, so I'll have this overlap space. Now, I'll show you how this works in just a minute, but one tip I will tell you is that if you have a dark and a light fabric, the dark will show through the light, and so that dictates which you leave the edge on. You can't always avoid this. It shows a little here under my light beak. So I'm laying my top of my little robin on this piece of fabric here. And here's my bottom half. And so what I'm doing here is I'm laying it to this line, and then that way the edge of that is underneath. And now I'm just going to put my iron on there for a few seconds and fuse it to that fabric. And the reason this overlapping is a good idea, I'm going to show you. I have two little examples here. This is if I overlapped. You see it's just a single, and I'm actually doing the stitching so that it covers both of the pieces. On this one, which I did to show you, I just butted them up together. I didn't leave that extra. And so what happens is then I have to do the oversew on this side and then again go back and do the oversew on this side. And it just looks a little bit clumsier. And on this particular fabric, it's kind of hiding the stitches a little bit just because the variegated thread happens to be falling. Do you see that? I'll do a close-up to see if you can see. And, you know, it looks okay if that's the way you want to do it, but this is just a little bit neater finish than this one. This is a little bit clumsier, and it's more stitching to do. If you're repeating your pattern, if you're making lots of blocks that are just the same, you want the little robins or whatever you're appliquing to be basically in the same place. So the way I do that is I take the first one, and when I do the second one, I put it underneath. I carefully match the edges of the fabric, and I can actually see the shadow of the shape under there. So when I put this on here, I lay it to the shadow. If you can't see it, you can kind of feel the edge under there. That way all your birds will be in the same area of your square. Now I'll take this to the iron like this and fuse it, and then I take the underneath one away and I leave this one down and I put the next layer on. And I do it that way so that one little robin doesn't get lots and lots of fusing. I don't know if it would harm it. I just suspect it might somehow do some damage to do that. So each little robin just gets two. It gets a top fusing and it gets a little shadow fusing underneath. Choose your thread for the style you want. You can see here I'm using this variegated thread. On these robins, I decided to have a thread that is really obvious and shows as an outline around the robin. You could do a thread that isn't going to show. On this little wall hanging I made quite a long time ago actually, I wanted the applique to be discreet, and so I matched the thread to, on here, the butterfly. So this here is actually Sashiko stitching that's along the edge, but the machine applique, I think you can see doesn't really show up very much. And again, on the darker colour, I matched the thread. So that's the alternative. Either you can make the stitching decorative or not quite invisible, but pretty well where you don't see it that well. So it depends on your design choice as well. If you just look at this robin though, you can see that it would be very difficult to choose a thread that would match both halves, because I'd need red for here and brown for here. Not very practical to change threads in the middle of an applique, but if, you know, it can be done if that's what you choose to do. So the thread is an important choice. And I like this variegated thread. I think this is going to look quite nice. On your machine, you want to choose a foot that allows you a really good view of your stitching. I chose this one, really wide area here, which means that I can see what I'm doing really well. I just took it off the machine to show it's a little bit hard to see that when it's on the machine, so I'm going to put it back on there to do my stitching. And the stitch I'm using is, I guess you would call it a blanket stitch, but a zigzag is also quite practical. I've changed my settings on my machine to what it normally is. On my machine I'm doing a 2.2, and you can see how it's a little blanket stitch there. And again, all machines are different, so you probably have to experiment a little bit to find the size that you want. If you've never done any applique before, so just test on a piece of fabric, draw a line and see just where your stitch line falls, because you want it to sit right along the edge of the fabric. If you don't know where your needle sits on your fabric, then your stitching might be out here or in here, and if it just takes a couple of minutes to realise where you need to sit your needle. All that's left is the stitching itself. I would start at an edge rather than in the middle of a row. I've moved my camera here so that you can see this a little bit better. I'm actually almost around and near to the end of my little robin. The best thing is just to take your time. It isn't a race, it doesn't matter how long it takes you. Just go at your own speed. On a curve like this, you may need to stop and lift your foot a little. My machine actually just lifts the foot automatically slightly every time I stop pressing the pedals, so it's just doing it on its own. This is actually a really relaxing and fun thing to do. Just carefully stick to the edge and work your way around to the end. So start with a simple project, practice a little, and if you follow the tips in this video, you'll be able to do some perfect machine quilting applique. Here is one of my little robins done, ready to be made into a quilt. I just have to finish the others. I'm almost done with them. If you've liked this video and have learned some things about machine applique, please subscribe and hit the notification bell and you'll see more of my videos. Thanks for watching.